Hi, my name is Ramna. My personal blog is .netiq.com and my Facebook ID is .netiq. You can visit my blog or Facebook page for more WCF videos and .NET 4.4 videos. As part of the WCF 4.1 new features series, in this screencast I am covering the changes and improvements in REST-based services development in 4.0. Here is the few important changes in REST services implementation in 4.0. The one is the help page. You can add a help page to your service. Definitely the help page is helpful to understand what are the operations existed in your service and few other details. I will explain you later that. And you can specify a friendly or meaningful names or keywords to your service. If you see in 3.5, if you want to access a REST-based service, you must go with .svc file slash your operation URI template, whatever is specified in the URI template. That's the only way you can access the REST-based service in 3.5. In coming to 4.0, you don't need to go with the .svc file, and also you can specify the whatever the name you want, you can specify to your service. And the other thing is ASP.NET output caching support. They added a caching support to your REST-based services. You can cache the data, you can cache your output data. But in this screencast, I'm not I'm not covering this caching. I will take this as a separate topic and explain in my coming videos. The another thing is we have a direct support for cross-domain issue. That means you can make your existing service as a JSON-P supportive. In 4.0, just it's a simple setting. In web.conf, you need to turn on a setting. It automatically makes your existing REST-based service as a JSON-P service. But in 3.5, if you want to make a REST-based service as a JSON-P service, there is no direct support. You need to download few custom bindings and custom encoding files from the MSDN, and you need to add those files to your project solution, and you need to do some list of the things. So definitely it's a big process to make your service as a JSON-P supportive in 3.5, but they drastically simplified in 4.0. I will show you how you can make your service as a JSON-P supportive. If you want to know more about what is the cross-domain issue and what is the JSON-P, please visit my one of the previous screencasts. I have a one complete screencast on this topic. And here I am going to show the what the details the help page is giving about your service. I already have a service. Actually my service is employee service, but I gave the ABC as the name as my service. Basically it's implementation is there in employee service class, but I configured with the name ABC keyword. So that's why if you give the ABC slash and also I turn on the help page for this service. So if you give the just help ABC, my service name slash help, it is giving this page. So it is giving the list of the operations existed in my service: add employee, delete employee, get employees by name, and it is the complete URL to access my service. If you see the get employee by name, like the query string parameter name, it is taken as the name as a query string parameter. And also it is giving the method, what the HTTP method it support: the post, delete and get. I have 3 methods with the 3 different HTTP methods. If you see the get, I am clicking on the get. If you see here, you have the example formats. It's existed in the both, like XML and JSON. If you see since it is taking the name as the input, it's a string straight away. It is taking as the query string. That's why we don't have any specific format to pass the query string. But if you see the response, we have the format example format existed in the XML and JSON. So it gives the list of the employees. That's why you see the employee entity. Heroes employee entities means the list of employees it is written. That's why the XML you see the 2 employee objects is just they are trying to mention that it's a list. And the JSON also, if you see the JSON example format, response is going to be in this format, it is going to be, this part is going to be multiplied, depends upon the your result set. If you have more employees it returns, then this block is going to be multiplied with the different values. So to understand your service, to understand what the exact request and response format and how to access your service, definitely the help page will give all these details. Now I'm going to show how we develop the REST-based services in 4.0. There is a template, online template existed. If you want, you can go ahead and download that. But I will show you the template. Yeah, go to the new project and click on the online templates. Server error, just a minute. Yeah, here is the one. Yeah, WCF REST service template in C#. If you want, you can go ahead and download this. Basically, it has it has come up with a few configuration settings and global.asx settings. You can, if you want, you can go ahead and download it. Otherwise, you need to specify all these details. I already implemented the employee REST-based service. I will explain you what are the things I did as usual. This is the example. The employee service is the example I take in all my videos to explain the concept. Okay, here iEmployee is the service contract. It has 3 operations, and the implementation of the iEmployee is employee service class. To make your service as a REST-based service, make sure you need to add these namespaces: service model.activation and service model.web. And you need to make your operations like, you need to decorate with attribute with web invoke. You need to decorate all your operations with web invoke attribute, and you need to specify the method, what the method your operation is going to support. Is a post, get, delete, put, so many are there. And this one, add employee, I'm taking the employee as employee object as the input, so I specified this as a post. So if you want to access this operation, you need to pass the data employee object as the post, and URI template just gave it as the same name of the operation. And if coming to this get employee by name, this is a get method, and URI template I specified what are the parameters is needed for that operation. I specified in the query string. You need to pass those parameters through query string since it is a get. Here you have an option, whatever the format you want you can specify. Since we are already familiar with the query string, so that's why I gave the query string format. Otherwise, if you want, you can go with your custom format like a slash, and like instead of parameter name directly, you can pass the slash values. It takes the first one as the first parameter, second one as the second parameter. Means it's up to you. If whatever the format you want, you can define here. The another operation I specified as a delete also, it takes the input parameter, means the input parameters to your method, it takes through query string, or means whatever the format you specified. This is how you need to make your methods as a REST base. And coming to the web.config, if you see here, we have the standard endpoints. In 4.0 they introduced the concept called standard endpoints. To know more about the standard endpoint, type the standard endpoints in MSDN. You have a standard endpoints article. It gives the more details about the standard endpoints. I mean, basically endpoint is nothing but address, binding and contract. And also we define some other configuration information like behavior configuration, binding configuration, some other configuration information. But if you see some certain types of endpoints, the few of the details is never changed. That means if you take a metadata exchange contract is iMetadata contract. It never change. Even if your service contracts change, that contract for metadata exchange is never changed. If you take the web HTTP binding, generally web HTTP binding we use to implement the REST-based services. The behavior configuration for the web HTTP binding is never changed. That means different endpoints, different types of bindings have few configurations, it never change. So they come up with a concept called standard endpoints. They defined some endpoints for certain types of standard endpoints for certain types of endpoints. with the default values. So you need to specify all these values repeatedly for your all endpoint configuration. If you have a standard endpoint existing for that binding, you just use that standard endpoint and specify the other parameters. So in 4.0 they identified few of the bindings which qualified for the standard endpoints. If you see web HTTP endpoint and web script endpoint, few of the dynamic endpoints like discovery and related endpoints. So they have some default values for those. So if you are using the web HTTP binding for your service, then you can specify the standard endpoint for the web HTTP and you can take the advantage of that. And sorry, where is this? Now I'm taking you to my web.config. If you see this, the standard endpoints, here the web HTTP endpoint. As I mentioned earlier, if you want to make your service as a REST-based service, you need to configure as a web HTTP binding. So since web HTTP binding has a web HTTP endpoint, standard endpoint, I'm using that. Here the standard endpoint, I have the configuration I'm specifying here, help enabled. This is the one, if I just make it as a true, this is the one which is providing the help page to your service. And one more thing is automatic format selection enabled. It's a true. That means that your service by default will support both the format, your JSON and XML format. So means it's like a client choice. If the client wants his response in XML, he can specify that in request and he can get the response in XML format. Basically it's a client choice. Client have two options to whether he wants to get in JSON or XML format. If you see in 3.5, at the time of implementation, you specified the operation, response output and request format. So if you specify that in a JSON, that's it. Your service is stick with the JSON format. But in 4.0, it's by default it supports both the formats. Definitely it's a really good thing. But if you want, you can restrict that to a certain format. But definitely it's not a code change, it's a web.config change. Here you can specify that what default response format, and you need make sure you need to make this as a false, and you can specify what the format you want to your service to support. And the other thing, if you notice here, I didn't specify anything like contract details. I didn't specify here. I specified just the binding related stuff, the standard endpoint, but I didn't specify where is the contract. You are saying go to the global.asx. Here is the route tables.routes. This is the way. This is the one which is giving a option you to give the friendly names to your service. Here I am giving the mapping, like the ABC is the name I actually gave to my service, and the mapping to the ABC is the contract, my implementation of the service behavior class. So if you want to change to ABC to employee service, you can specify here so that you can access the service with this keyword only. Since here I specified the ABC, I can access my service with the ABC. That's what we saw earlier, ABC/help page. So if you are adding a new service contract, means if you have a new service, then you need to make sure give the service related mapping information in the global.asx file. And one more key thing, as we discussed earlier, to make your service as a JSON-P supportive, just one setting change. Here if you see the cross-domain script access enabled, if you make it as a true, then your service will support the JSON-P format, like it can overcome the cross-domain issue. But remember, if you make this setting in your source code and try to run locally using the personal web server, it won't it won't execute that. If you want to test the cross-domain changes, you must go with IIS server. This is the error you will get it. I am turning off this one, and I will show you how to just false. Then I will stop this one. I'm running it again. Okay, it is the abc slash get employees by name. Sorry, it has the spell mistake. This is I already added the my employee means one record to the in process list. That's why you are seeing this response. Okay, I hope I covered the few important changes happen in the REST implementation in 4.0. In my next screencast, I will come up with a new topic. Thank you. Bye.